Well, so I've actually been like a part of the anime community since I was really young, like 4 years old. And it was largely because of my dad, and he started bringing me to like events and like conventions and stuff since I was like young. So like I've always been like exposed to cosplay, always been like interested and like dressing up as my favorite characters like since like I was super young. So it wasn't until I think I started making like social media content though that I got like really into it, because before it used to just be just like a casual, just like for a fun thing. But now it's like I actively do it and like actively use it as like a creative outlet and like make content with it. So it's funny because I'm like a part of like so many different fandoms, like not just like anime. And one of my like very, very first cosplays was the Pink Power Ranger when I was like 4 years old. So that was like my very first one. I was like obsessed with Power Rangers. And then let's see. And then some of my other like cosplays, like I was super into Sailor Moon when I was really young, like 4 or 5 years old. So Sailor Moon was like a big one. Pokemon was a big one, like Ash Ketchum, like stuff like that. Like I was obsessed with Pikaswoosh or Pikachu. Sorry, I always like to say like my username because that's like where it's from. But yeah, I'm like obsessed with Pikachu and like stuff like that. So yeah, I even like cosplayed with some of like my younger relatives too, like my little cousins and stuff. Like we were all into like anime and stuff like that, so we would like dress up together, and it'd just be like a family thing. It was like, luckily for me, at a very young age, it felt like super normal for me, which I know a lot of people don't like grow up with that like same experience. I have a couple of favorite ones. So one of my favorite ones that I do is the Hisoka cosplay, which is like a gender bent like streetwear version of Hisoka. So I have like a long red wig, like I DIY'd some like random stuff I got from Forever 21 that I've had like forever. And I like super glued like the card sweet patches on there. And so that was one of my like favorite ones that I've done because I feel like it's the most like creative and like cool one. But then my most favorite cosplay to make content is my Rock Lee cosplay, which is like hilarious because I just decided I wanted to cosplay Rock Lee at like 1 a.m. randomly one day, and all my friends were like, that would be so funny, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, it would be funny. Like, and Rock Lee is one of my like favorite characters of all time. So I probably make more Rock Lee like content than like anything, like wig and everything. Like it's my favorite thing to like wear. I think social media more than anything, because even though I was growing up, like really all I was ever exposed to was like, just to give you guys like like I started like watching anime and like doing like since like 1995. So like early 90s, you know, you don't get a lot of exposure to a lot of stuff, like especially as a kid, just like in the cosplay realm in general. So all I really had to dabble with was like what my parents helped me with, or like what I would see at Party City or like Halloween stores or stuff like that. But it wasn't until like maybe like a teenager and a lot of like cosplayers and like makeup artists and like people in those spaces were like really getting a lot of recognition and just like really changing the game for like cosplaying in general, especially for women. And so it was really just like seeing a lot of like the makeup artists and like the DIY cosplayers just like blow up on YouTube and Instagram that made me really feel like, yeah, I can really like make this a creative outlet for myself, instead of just like it being like a fun thing that I do like for cons or like with my friends or whatever. But I was like, this is like really, really awesome. Like the people that I'm seeing on social media aren't just like models and celebrities and athletes. Like there are people that like have the same interests as me that are getting like super creative with this stuff. So I owe like a lot of my inspiration to just like people that were making cosplay content like before me. Like I'm constantly inspired by like TikTokers, YouTubers, Instagrammers, like all the time. I feel like there's a lot of anime characters that I feel like I relate to. Like with every anime that I watch, I feel like there's a character like per anime that I relate to. And I have cosplayed this character before, but I really relate to Kenma from Haikyuu, like so much. Like it's crazy. And it's not just because he's like really shy and quiet and stuff like that, but like I really feel for that character, because not only is he like shy and quiet, but like he's like really passionate, like just like about gaming, which I am also passionate about gaming, but just like he has like this one passion that just he uses to kind of like relate to like his real life problems. He's like, oh, I'm gonna look at this like it's a video game, and then that's how I'm gonna like overcome this issue that I'm having. And I do that a lot. Like I relate a lot of my like in real life problems to like video games, anime, like things that I've seen on TV, things that I've like read in manga. And it helps me a lot to just kind of like, I don't know, I feel like I'm just like kind of getting outside of my issues and then just like thinking of different ways to solve them. So I really relate to him in that sense. And also I'm like a huge introvert, and like all my friends are like extroverts. I'm like the one quiet, shy, never want to like leave the house, never want to like, you know, like talk to new people. So I really feel like in that sense, like I relate to him a lot. It sounds like really cliche, but I've really learned to just like be myself and like accept who I am, and like accept like my interests, accept like my hobbies. Like it's really helped me like hone my creative approach as well, because what I do as a career, I'm actually like an art director for like a few different brands. So I work on like a very high level of like creativity and like managing creative teams. And actually I did a campaign with this one like skincare and beauty brand that I work with like all of October. We did like a cosplay inspired like beauty campaign, which was super fun. And we even got like a bunch of girls like in the office, like from the brand, to like cosplay their favorite like anime characters and like do photo shoots with them. Like it was so fun. And even like the CEO of the company even did like her favorite like she did like some Spirited Away cosplay to promote some like new products that she had developed. And so it was really awesome to be able to take like my own like personal like hobby that I have outside of work and like bring it into my job and like get more people involved and like inspire more people to like be into that kind of stuff. Because even since then, like the CEO of that company that I work with, like she does like way more cosplay now. Like she is like always posting about her cosplay, like always like excited about like cosplaying like her favorite anime characters or like her kids' favorite anime characters. And so that was like really cool to be able to like inspire that. And a lot of and I also take like social media pretty seriously now too, from like a professional standpoint. So it's also helped me just be more creative in that aspect, especially when it comes to like working with like new brands or like collaborating with other TikTokers or other like Instagrammers or just other companies in general. Like it helps me have just like another thing in my arsenal that I can be like creative with. And so, yeah, so it's been being more like serious about cosplay and like getting more creative with cosplay and more confident with it has definitely like helped my like professional career, like on both sides, like my like actual like office career and then like my social media career. Yeah, so I do believe that there is still a lot of stigma surrounding mental health just because I experience it on like a daily basis, just like discussing things with like other people or like seeing other people's like opinions or like viewpoints about like mental health, especially when like they themselves don't they don't like struggle with it in the same way. So it's definitely still like very stigmatized, a lot less than it used to be like when I was growing up, but it definitely still is a lot now. And there is a lot of room for growth when it comes to destigmatizing like mental health issues. So I try to just focus on like what I as an individual can do. And I have a platform and I'm like very grateful for my platform, and I use it a lot to talk about mental health issues. And a lot of the people that like follow me or follow my content like know that I'm like very open about it and like very transparent about like the things that I go through and like how I get through them and like how I'm feeling. And just using my platform to like help people feel like like validated if they're going through the same thing as I am, B, offer like solutions that maybe like some people haven't thought of before, and then C, for the people that like don't necessarily like struggle with the same things that I do, offer like resources and information and just like, make it like, I want people to know that it's like, it's real and it's normal. Like they look at me as like a content creator, and like a lot of the time they like look up to me, or they just, are entertained by the things that I post, and they see me as this like, just like this internet personality, but then it's like, oh, but I also like struggle with this, So a lot of the times like it's really eye-opening for them. And I actually like get messages about it a lot. Like people will message me and be like, hey, like, I didn't know somebody like you could like go through this kind of stuff. Like you seem like, really happy all the time. And I mean, that's not true, but they're like, you seem like this, that, and the other. I didn't expect like someone like you would be going through like something like this. And it's like, well, mental health issues don't like pick and choose who they affect, like I go through it, the person next to you might go through it, like a friend, a family member, like, there's no like one look to like struggling with like depression or anxiety or like PTSD or like things like that. So I think it helps, like when I speak up about it, it helps like open people's minds a little bit more. So, I mean, there's a lot of room for growth when it comes to destigmatizing mental health. So like, I try to just like empower people like as individuals to like do their part, if they can. Yeah, so I have been somebody, like I have dealt with like mental health issues for as long as I can remember. I didn't even know what I was struggling with up until recently, I guess, just with like with the growth of social media and stuff. Like I'm actually like now really aware with what I struggle with, so it's a lot easier for me to deal with. But like growing up, there was almost like no information like accessible to like depression, PTSD, anxiety. Like I would say I've been through my fair share of like trauma and hardships, like growing up, just like with family, friends, like romantic relationships and things like that. And I also, when I think, how old was I? I think I was like 18 when I finally was like diagnosed with depression, and like went through my whole thing with trying out medication and trying out therapy and like all that kind of stuff. And just like, it was really hard for me because it was even more stigmatized back then than it is now, which was like 10 years ago. For like perspective, like that was 10 years ago when I was diagnosed. And so ever since then, I've been kind of trying to seek out my own like my own like education on like what I'm going through, just like constant research, constant like open discourse with people. And it came to a point where I finally was able to like accept myself, because my initial struggle was just kind of like being in denial or not really knowing how to deal with what I was going through. And I kind of felt like an outcast. I kind of felt like why can't I just like be normal? And it wasn't until like I finally accepted myself that I started being more like active. I don't want to call it like a mental health community, but like within the communities of people that like, you know, spread information, they like share resources, they help towards like destigmatizing like mental health issues and stuff like that. And I actually have a side project that I've been working on for the past like few years, because my background is in like business and like art and like working with like companies and like entrepreneurs and like things like that. And I myself am like a businesswoman and entrepreneur. And I have been working alongside a lot of like business owners and freelancers and things like that to help write like articles or like make content around like mental health struggles in business, mental health struggles in like the creative industry, mental health struggles in like social media spaces. And so that's been like a really fulfilling project for me on like the professional side, is just being able to share like really authentic stories and like really authentic solutions with other people. Yeah, it's definitely helped. It's helped so much. And with being on social media and being so public with like my interests, there are times where it affects my mental health negatively, but the positives have definitely outweighed the negatives by far. I have, with being more confident and open about like cosplaying and like anime and like making content, I've made like so many great friends. Like I've made so many great friends over the internet. And it's just like that in itself has put like such a positive impact on like my outlook of the future. Because if you had told me like a year ago that like this is where I would be right now, I would be like, that's so crazy. Because I used to always be just like super shy and super scared to even just like post anything on the internet, you know? So I'm definitely like, I'm a lot more confident now. I'm a lot more like comfortable, like sharing my experiences, like sharing like my successes and my failures, like on the internet and with like my new friends and things like that. Like I even, my boyfriend right now, I met through TikTok. He's also a cosplayer. We make cosplay content together. And it's like my favorite thing. And a lot of people like to like, we post like a lot of funny stuff too. Like I've always been cosplaying Rock Lee, and he cosplays like Guy Sensei a lot. So we do a lot of like videos together in those cosplays, and it just like, it makes my day. And I love hearing that it like makes other people's day too. So being able to just like inspire other people or like make other people like happy or entertained with like my content, just like, it makes me feel so good. It makes me feel so good. And it just like, it gives me motivation to keep going and like keep doing more and keep like getting creative and like not being afraid to do like the silly, funny, like really niche cosplays either that I've like always wanted to do. Because before it's like, oh, like I'll only cosplay like popular characters because I don't know if like other people will like care if I do somebody else. But now I'm just like, who cares if other people care? Like I care, like this is gonna be a great time for me. This is gonna like help me like better mentally, because like when I get in cosplay, like I feel like even if I'm having a bad day, like I feel like I'm just like getting into like another skin. Like I just, you know, I feel like a new person. Like I feel like I can just like be that character for a moment and just like not be me for a second, you know? So it's definitely impacted me like really positively. And once like everything with like COVID and stuff, like, you know, gets better, like I'm so excited to start like going to cons again with all like my millions of like new friends now. Like I'm so excited for it. Some things that I've done to improve my mental health is just every day, like I tell myself, like, if I need to take a break, it's okay. If I need to like do something else, it's okay. If I feel a certain way, like, it's okay. Like, the first thing I do when I wake up is like, I do like a mental check. I'm like, how am I feeling today? What do I have to do today? Am I good? And then if I'm not good, I take it from there. Like, I've learned like not to beat myself up about it if I'm not feeling, up for whatever I have to do that day. So that's my first thing, is I've learned to just do like a mental check with myself, like every morning when I wake up. And then also another thing that I do is, well, this is not realistic for everybody, but I got a cat, and the cat that I've had, I've had him for 3 years now. And I know it's not realistic for everybody, but my cat has really just like improved my mental health by like so much, because I never feel alone. Even when I'm like at home by myself, like I'm not feeling good, like my cat is like always there for me. Like, we're always like, he's always down to like cuddle. He's always there. Like, I never feel alone. That's been like a huge thing for me. Other things that I've done for my mental health is just spending more time doing things that I enjoy just for myself. Like, not anything that has to do with social media, not anything that has to do with work, like just things that I enjoy purely because I enjoy it. So a lot of that also includes like binge watching a lot of anime, or like binge reading a lot of like pointless romance manga. Like, I read so much romance manga, like, and it's all the same plot. It's like all the same plot, but I've got like 20 different series just like in the chamber ready for like whenever I just want to like take a day off and read the same romance manga with different characters. So, it's a daily thing. It's hard for me to say like what specific things I've done to improve my mental health, because it's kind of just like a daily thing. It's like just constantly just checking in with myself. That's like the most important thing that I think I can do for myself. And everybody's different. Everybody's got like different things. But for me, yeah, it's just, I need to constantly know like how I'm doing, and if there's anything else I can do to like improve my mood. If I'm not like feeling good, like what can I do? And if there's nothing I can do, or if I don't have any energy to fix, how I'm feeling, then like I gotta let myself know that that's okay as well. Like, that's totally fine. Like, if I would just want to sit there and like feel depressed, like I gotta just let myself do that and not beat myself up about it. Sometimes you just gotta let it pass.
All right, so if you don't mind, we're gonna do a little like fun game at the end.
Okay.
So we called it Anime Tinder.
Okay.
So we're gonna name a character, and then you're gonna choose if you want to swipe left or right on them.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so we're gonna start with Kisaka.
Wait, okay, you gotta remind me, is left like yes, or is right left?
Left is no, right is yes.
Okay. Kisaka, I would swipe right for sure.
Erwin from Attack on Titan.
That's a left for me.
Oh, okay, all right.
I know, it's so controversial.
No, I completely understand. I probably would have swiped up too. Jiraiya from Naruto.
Left.
Understandable. Osama?
Can you say that again?
Oh, it's
sorry.
me.
Okay.
You can swipe left or right on me too, but you don't have to. Next anime character is All Might from My Hero.
I got it. Okay. I'm sorry. It's just because my boyfriend cosplays All Might a lot, but I would swipe left.
Okay. I understand. Next, Coach Yukai from Haikyuu.
That's a right. That's an instant right.
You have good taste. Next, Nanami from Jujutsu Kaisen.
I would go right.
Okay. Annie, you have a few characters too.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so the next one we have is, how about Might Guy, which is Rock Lee Sensei from Naruto.
Oh my gosh, I feel so bad because that's like the person my boyfriend cosplays the most, but it's a left for me, like honestly, like in a real life situation.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I completely understand that. Now the next one we have is how about Present Mike from My Hero Academia?
That's definitely a left.
Okay. And then how about Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen?
That's definitely a right. I haven't met many people that would swipe left on Gojo.
And then, alrighty, that sums up the whole cute little anime center that we had planned out. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to Osama.
Yes, and thank you for saying that people won't usually swipe left on Gojo. I agree.
Right.
Okay, so we want to thank you so much for joining us today, and say, is there anything you'd like to add or plug or put out there before we cut this?
Anything I want to add or plug? Well, the only thing I ever plug is just myself, my TikTok and my Instagram for cosplay content. I will say the next person that I'm planning to cosplay is from One Piece. I just started watching One Piece and I'm really liking it. And here's the thing, I don't want to be one of those girls that's like, oh, I just started watching this anime to like impress a guy. I had no interest watching One Piece until like my boyfriend like doesn't shut up about it. But I started reading it and watching it and I really thoroughly enjoy it. I'm loving it a lot. So my next cosplay is gonna be Bon Clay. And I know that's so random, but I'm like, that's like kind of like my thing. You know, like I don't usually cosplay like main characters. Like it's always just like a random side character that I just am like hyper fixating on that I just have to cosplay. So that'll be my next cosplay. I'm really excited about it. So for anybody watching, that's what's coming up soon.
Okay, thank you again.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for having me.